It was hot, and there were a lot of fights. That can be your recap for Giants Lions joint practice number 2. I'm Brandon London here with longtime Giants beat writer for the Post, Paul Schwartz. Paul, we got to go into this thing a little bit deeper.
Hold on.
The MMA fight that we saw today.
Did you just hit me?
Did you just hit me?
You just hit me.
Am I gonna punch you now with a helmet on?
Dude. All right, whatever. Look, you know what? It was fun, right?
Yes.
It was good work. I heard after yesterday, where it got close to getting out of hand with these fights, and the problem yesterday was everything was escalated by guys coming off the sidelines on both teams. Okay. A little scuffle would happen. Both teams, like the bench is empty. And I heard that Brian Dable put an edict out to his team: we're going to play hard, we're going to play clean, we're not going to back down. No one is coming off the sideline today. Yeah. No one is. And when Malik Nabers went at and Kirby Joseph, they started going at each other. You could see all the coaches on the sideline were like, no. So it doesn't escalate. So there was good work. There was fights. I would think that what we saw the last 2 days out here on the practice field will probably be more physical and more tense than what we see Thursday night in the preseason game.
Yeah, and you saw Lions head coach Dan Campbell say that he wanted his guys to kind of treat this like a game. You throw a punch, you're going to get thrown out of the game. So we saw, as a player, you love the physicality, but at the same time, you have to be smart. Guys are just out here trying to work, trying to get better. But that will kind of summarize the MMA match that we had going on there. I guess offensively, we can start. I think the offense looked good, but not great. Yesterday on joint practice number 1, they were going down the field. You saw all types of content on social media of Jalen Hyatt connected with Daniel Jones, Malik Nabers. Now, Nabers and Daniel Jones connected again, and it's becoming routine, Paul. But one thing I do want to see when that offense is kind of lackluster and Nabers isn't getting his targets, I would like to see more Jalen Hyatt, more Wan'dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. So Wan'dale Robinson got a lot of screens today, a lot of short intermediate routes, but there wasn't a lot down the field compared to joint practice number 1. And when it comes to the offensive line, you want to see them hold up just a little bit more. They're getting better. They're going with different combinations. But if they can continue to hold up and let that pocket collapse just a little bit more, that gives some of these speed receivers, shifty guys, a little bit more time to get downfield in their routes.
Well, I do think it's a yin-yang that happens very often is the joint practices. Yesterday, Giants made a lot of big plays. Jalen Hyatt made a big play. The rookie tight end Theo Johnson made a big play. Nabers made one big play. He was maybe this far out of bounds on a long touchdown. We asked Nabers today, were you in bounds? You know what he said?
Our receiver's always going to say yes.
He didn't say yes. He said, I'm always in.
I love it.
I'm always in.
I love it.
But, so I think after that, now the Lions go back. They go to their hotel. They watch the tape. So they come back and they say, we're not going to give up these big plays in practice. So I think that happened. I think the Giants' offensive line played very well yesterday. As you said, not quite as well today. But look, as opposed to last year where the Giants were completely dominated in Allen Park, Michigan. And we didn't know the Lions. We thought they were a good team. We didn't know they were a few plays away from the Super Bowl like they were in 2023. So the Giants, for these 2 days, had to come out here and show we can stand up to this team. Our talent level is somewhat on equal footing with this team. At least we can compete with them. And for these 2 days, they really did. Now they did get gashed a little bit on defense in the run game, but I think there was a lot of good stuff out there. I really do. I think these are very, very beneficial things.
Yeah, you get to, and I hate to use the cliche phrase, iron sharpens iron, but you're playing against a team that's, as you can say on paper, is better than you. You want to see if you can punch up if you're this Giants offense and this Giants team. A lot of people have questions on this Giants secondary. Yesterday, they were kind of beat. Malik Nabers, Jalen Hyatt has kind of gotten behind them throughout training camp. Were they better today, Paul?
They were okay. There was one busted play, just a big busted play where, Jared Goff just threw, and I think it was his tight end, wide open. That's a bust. That's just a bust, and that can't happen, right? If they're going to beat you, they got to nickel and dime you down the field. So that's a problem. I think Deonte Banks looks good. The one thing I would say is, look, I still think that second starting perimeter cornerback spot is problematic. I just do. And maybe that starter is not on this roster yet. Cordell Flott is trying, but I think the best thing I can say about the young group back there now is that I think Drew Phillips is a really feisty, competitive guy, and I would be maybe not shocked, but very surprised if he's not the starting nickel. I think the Giants love him. They drafted him in the 3rd round, and I think he is doing what he needs to do to be a starter on opening day.
Yeah, this Giants defense is built around pass rush. You saw Kayvon Thibodeau kind of bend the edge today, kind of get a sack on Jared Goff. You saw the pocket collapsing on the Lions offense a lot. So you want to see that. You know the guys like Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon's going to get there. One thing that is a question mark as well, Paul, is who's going to be that 4th premier, I guess, pass rusher or that staple right there in the middle, right next to Dexter Lawrence. And is this Giants defense built to stop the run?
Well, they weren't last year, and they really have to be a lot better at that. Look, with Dexter Lawrence in the middle, you should be able to. Yeah. With Bobby Okereke getting 149 tackles, you should be able to. I think Kayvon is an improving run stopper. I think Rakeem Nunes-Roches is a guy. He's got the upper hand, I think, to be in that spot. I think Ryder Anderson is a guy who's got some bulk to him. I think he can play there as a run stopper. It's very important, and I think that was something that Wink Martindale paid a lot of lip service to, stopping the run. All defensive coordinators do, but I think when push comes to shove, Shane Bowen will make more of a priority to stop the run than Wink did. Wink wanted to stop the run, but he wanted to be exotic and get after the passer. Ryan Bowen, the new defensive coordinator, less exotic, more stopping the run first.
So what's next for these guys? I got Wednesday off. Obviously, the first preseason game is Thursday at MetLife Stadium against the Lions. Has Coach Dable said how much he's going to play the starters if he plays them at all?
Well, if he said it, I didn't hear it, okay? So maybe I wasn't listening for that portion when he gave us chapter and verse on who he is going to play. He does not do that. Look, the big question is, most of the starters are not going to play. Maybe none of the starters will play because I do feel that Dable thought that they got good work here in 2 days, and that is sort of like a game simulation. It really is. But the big question is, in these 3 preseason games, you have Daniel Jones coming off an ACL. If he doesn't play in the preseason, okay, he will go into September 8th not having played in a live game in almost 11 months. So is 1 series, 2 series, 3 series, the risk of that putting him on the field, is that worth not putting him on the field? Because don't forget, last year they were walloped in the beginning of the season. They were outscored 20, 40, 50, 60 to nothing in the first 3 quarters of last season. So they know that can't happen. So they have to start fast. Everything they're doing this camp is to start fast. And so does not playing in the preseason allow Daniel Jones to start fast? I'm not sure. Maybe they may have to put him in a few series just to get the feel of a real live rush. What we see in practice is a rush. It's not a live rush because, he's wearing a red jersey and can't get sacked.
Sometimes for a player coming back off an injury, just that first tackle can kind of get your juices going and get that confidence back. This team has questions. It's all going to go down Thursday night at MetLife Stadium so they can hopefully start their quest to getting answers. For Paul Schwartz, I'm London. Thanks for watching, guys.